They pushed him out of primetime.
And let's say we're planning a wake.
They did not want him to be on in primetime.
100%.
It's awesome because he's a jerk. And I'm happy to see him humiliated like this. But it's humiliation nonetheless. You know we don't like Joe Biden here, and I know supposedly he's politically irrelevant. We don't care about Joe Biden. We already defeated Joe Biden. Good. But the humiliation can't get stronger for this man because he has been a nasty, mean-spirited, divisive blowhard his entire political career. Ask the family of Robert Bork what he did to them. Ask Clarence Thomas and his lovely wife, Ginny. Ask anybody. Ask Mitt Romney, who in 2012, Joe Biden said he was going to put black people back in chains. Joe Biden is an awful, lying scumbag. And last night, oh, it was glorious to watch as he was scheduled for his primetime speech. He's going to say goodbye to his party and to the American people at the beginning of the DNC. And the primetime speech didn't start until 11:30 at night. Nobody saw this thing. I'm surprised Joe was able to stay up for it. Watch how the gang at Fox and Friends described the scene this morning.
Here's the thing. The reason it ran so late, according to the organizers, was because of the raucous applause.
Yep.
I got news for you.
No.
When you're putting together something, you plan on, you build in applause. They pushed him out of primetime.
And let's say we're planning a wake.
They did not want him to be on in primetime.
100%.
He wanted, whoever they are at the DNC, the same people who shoved him aside, they wanted him only seen in little clips this morning, the day after, as we talk a little bit about it, Lawrence, and they're going to get exactly what they want. They put him on at 11:28, which is when they normally run sitcoms, old sitcoms on syndication. That's where they put Joe Biden. His swan song, essentially, past primetime.
A lot of people thought they're going to watch I Love Lucy.
That's right. I Love Lucy, although that would have been, sort of in keeping with Joe Biden because he's about as old as the first. Actually, he's older than the first episodes of I Love Lucy. Now, of course, he was, right in prime time out there on the West Coast because they really want to shore up the vote in California, Oregon, and Washington, apparently. Michigan, though, yeah, you don't matter. Pennsylvania, no. Seeing Joe Biden is not a priority for Kamala Harris. And they keep saying they, the DNC. And I'm glad that Mr. Ducey there stopped himself and said, who's they? I'll tell you who they is. Kamala Harris is they. Kamala Harris and Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and the powers that be and the financing, the funding, the money behind it all. Poor Jill Biden. Remember, she was running the White House up until a month ago. And then she was there trying to set Joe up for his great triumphant exit stage left, very far left. And she told a whopper of a whopper.
And weeks ago, when I saw him dig deep into his soul and decide to no longer seek re-election and endorse Kamala Harris.
Now, hold on. Is that exactly what she saw a few weeks ago? Did she see Joe Biden dig deep in his soul and contemplate it? 48 hours before he put out that bizarre written statement on X that he wasn't going to be running for president, he was still defiantly shaking his fist at you and saying, these smart guys think they can get rid of me. Well, hell no, they can't get rid of. Well, what happened? Did he really dig deep? What was it again, Jill?
And weeks ago, when I saw him dig deep into his soul.
No, what you saw is Nancy Pelosi dig a knife deep into his back. That's what you saw, Jill. This was sad. This was humiliating. This was depressing. No one should have to endure what they made him endure. It's awesome because he's a jerk. And I'm happy to see him humiliated like this. But it's humiliation nonetheless. Also, what did she say here? Is she saying, and help me out, because I'm not being disingenuous. Sometimes I pretend like I can't understand what they're saying, but truly, and Kevin, maybe you can help me with this. Is she saying 10 weeks ago? Listen again.
And weeks ago.
And weeks ago?
And weeks ago, when I saw.
All right, weeks ago, he dug deep. He dug deep and pulled that knife out of his back that Nancy Pelosi jammed in and twisted. And then Kamala Harris made a surprise appearance. so that she could also pile on the humiliation because nobody believes anything these people are saying. She put one of the extra nails in the coffin for Joe Biden.
And I want to kick us off by celebrating our incredible president, Joe Biden, who will be speaking later tonight. Joe, thank you for your historic leadership, for your lifetime of service to our nation.
So this made it into prime time. This is when everybody's watching. This you get to see. Joe himself, it's going to be way too late, especially for all you blue-collar workers that they're trying to appeal to. They don't want you to see anything having to do with Joe Biden. That's why he's not the nominee anymore. This makes it to prime time, where instead of actually talking to Joe Biden like a normal human being, this person is shouting into the camera across the hall and hoping that Joe is sitting in the green room backstage catching it 3 hours before they actually let him hobble onto the stage and rant his final speech. These people are awful, although they're being awful to Joe Biden, and he's awful in his own right. So again, it all sort of balances out. So let me go back here because I love the fact that this is what made it into prime time, not Joe himself. They love Joe so much and they honor him so much that they want to make sure that they use all of the hours in prime time showing themselves praising him and honoring him. But then what he has to say, no, you don't need to see that. Move on.
Kick us off by celebrating our incredible president, Joe Biden, who will be speaking later tonight. Joe, thank you for your historic leadership, for your lifetime of service to our nation, and for all you will continue to do. We are forever grateful to you.
Yeah, they are so forever grateful to him. Then Chris Coons, his fellow senator from Delaware, they served together in the Senate. And of course, it's Delaware. It's a very small and corrupt community out there amongst Democrat elected officials. Chris Coons was the chairman of the Biden campaign before it became the Harris campaign. And he wasn't told, by the way, by Joe Biden himself. He wasn't told that he was going to step down as the nominee, but they're very close. They're very good friends. And Chris Coons was trotted out there to deliver the most awkward, unorganic, unnatural, scripted, and forced convention chant you will ever see in your life. Say it with me, everyone. We love Joe. Really, we do. Watch how naturally this develops in the hall.
Thank you, Joe, and God bless you. We love you. We love Joe. We love Joe. We love Joe. We love Joe. Thank you all. We love Joe. God bless you, and thank you very much.
Wow. That listen to the room. Yeah. That was the raucous, organic, naturally inspired, spontaneous "We Love Joe" chant that died after about 7 seconds, and then it was just deathly silent in the room. I think CNN was staying on the wide shot here, expecting the cascades of "We Love Joe" to just ripple through the United Center. That never really happened, did it? And also, I don't know if you caught this or not, but there was one moment of very, very natural, genuine realness that occurred during the chant. Did you see it? Let's watch it. This is the "We Love Joe" chant. It's fast, but I'm going to play it on a loop so we can watch it together.
Joe.
There it is. Watch your face. Watch your eyes. We love Joe. Really? We love Joe. We really doing this? We love Joe. Where's Kamala? We love Joe. He's just an old white racist. We love Joe. Please get the camera off me. We love Joe. Nobody believes this. I love that woman. Love that woman. Boom. She speaks for all of us. Honestly, and frankly, she speaks for everyone in that room, for that matter. That's actually not even the most awkward moment as they chanted, "We love Joe." Little later, they trotted out signs that said, "We love Joe." That's how forced this was. That's how forced this was. You know, nothing says "we love a guy" as much as forcing people to chant "we love a guy" while they're holding up signs that say "we love this guy." And you know who loves him more than anyone else? Nancy Pelosi. I mean, just look at that face. It's all about the love. Oh, and the joy. I forgot about joy. This is all about joy, too. The love and the joy. They're joyful with their love for Joe. Watch Nancy chant her "We love Joe," because you know how much she loves him. Mount Rushmore, greatest president we've ever had. Yeah. Yeah, she loves him. I mean, that's the face of true love. That is just, she is reflecting the love of Jesus Christ to all of humanity right there with that radiant smile. That absolutely, she loves him. Look at, she's even moving her little sign there. Nothing but contempt. Oh, all the love we were feeling last night. Does that woman look guilty to you? Does she look like she's up to something? Does she look like she needs to go to confession? Oh, please. That's going to be a long marathon. If you have to go to confession and you see Nancy Pelosi in line ahead of you, just find another parish. Because it's going to be a while. All right. So later in the evening, we had a Kamala Harris spokesperson show up on Fox News. And I'm glad they do, because it's nice to have them actually be challenged with some questions. And because he's not used to actually be challenged with anything, he lets something slip here. The question has to do with the relationship between Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden. And remember, the story up until now that Nancy Pelosi has been telling anyone who will ask, and many people have asked, is that Joe Biden came to his decision on his own and she didn't put any pressure on him, right? That's been the message up until now. So Bill Hemmer merely asks, what's the relationship now between Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi? Listen carefully.
I haven't spoken to Nancy at all. She was in the front row last night. They haven't talked?
Well, I can't speak to any of the decisions that they made or any conversations that they may or may not have had.
Wait. What now? All he asked was, have they spoken? And I think he let something slip there. Well, I can't speak to any decisions that they made. I mean, there were no decisions. He made the decision. He came to it on his own. She had nothing to do with those decisions. Where's Rachel Maddow? Where's Rachel Maddow? I need my safe space. Really simple question, dude. Have they had any conversations? Well, no, I can't tell you anything about any decisions they made.
To Nancy at all. She was in the front row last night. They haven't talked?
Well, I can't speak to any of the decisions that they made or any conversations that they may or may not.
Clean up, please. Please clean up this mess on aisle 3. Scott Jennings, of course, over on CNN, cuts through all of the bull, and he tells it like it is. And he's in his prime right now as the sole voice of reason over there on Jake Tapper's cable news network. He said it like it is. He saw this humiliation, this embarrassing public display last night for Joe Biden. How ruthless we knew they were ruthless. They pushed Joe Biden out. They threatened him. They handpicked Kamala Harris, put her in place without any due process, without any voting. Now they're acting like, oh, look at what a unified party we are. Yeah, it's pretty easy to be unified when no one's allowed to vote on anything. You know, there's something about authoritarian rule that really brings out unity in a group like these Democrats. So we know they're ruthless already, but then to publicly humiliate Joe Biden this way and put him through this public spectacle is just, it's pouring salt on the wound. It's urinating on the grave. We love Joe. Really, we do. So Scott Jennings sort of shines a light on it there on CNN, if anyone's watching.
This is his moment tonight. It's his moment, guys.
Yeah, Biden is known in his career as being one of the best eulogy givers at funerals, and now they're making him come and give his own career.
He has
eulogy.
files of every eulogy.
Yeah,
he's ever
and now they're making him give his own eulogy at this convention. I mean,
You have to give one its best so you get to give your own.
yeah, I guess I am anxious to see how they handle it. It's a sticky wicket. I mean, he was bullied out of this race after 52 years of service to the Democratic Party, and it wasn't all about his age. He was unpopular. He was going to lose. It was Afghanistan. It was inflation. It was immigration. And now, and he had to be dragged out by the fingernails. I'm sorry. This is not, so he's not here in a happy moment. Okay. I know that this yarn that's being spun in this hall that he was popular and selfless and handing on. No. It is the opposite. And everybody knows it. And yet the Democrats are engaging in this theater of looking into cameras and saying it. So it's not true.
Yeah. One other thing I want to point out here, if I could, during this segment where you saw Scott Jennings is terrific and good for him. He is getting pulled out while he's trying to cling on by his fingernails. And the fact that he has to give his own public eulogy, that's a great line. But one other thing here that I want to point out, just look in the lower right-hand corner. You can see right at the CNN logo there. See what time it is? That's 8:11 p.m. That's right there in the wheelhouse of primetime television, right? Everybody's tuning in at 8:11. That's what where they're having this conversation about Joe Biden's speech that they're highly anticipating. Think about this for a minute. These guys had to wait 3 hours and 19 minutes after this conversation before the speech actually began on the stage at the Democratic National Convention. That's how bound and determined the Democrats, Kamala Harris, Barack Obama, the orchestrators, the big money funders who are paying for this entire coup attempt that we're watching develop before our eyes. That's how desperate they were to make sure you didn't see Joe Biden. And why? Well, let's give you a little sampling of Joe Biden's speech because I know you didn't see it. So I'll give you a little sampling so you can see exactly what happened on the stage last night. And then maybe you'll understand why they wanted to make sure he was on very, very late when all those swing voters in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania were off to bed. Here's Joe in his final public political speech.
In its decision overturning Roe v. Wade that you heard earlier tonight, the United States Supreme Court majority wrote the following, quote, "Women are not without electoral or political power." No kidding. MAGA Republicans found out the power of women in 2022. And Donald Trump is going to find out the power of women in 2024.
All right, so there you go. Women are not without electrical power in 2024. And yes, Donald Trump, MAGA Republicans found out the power that women have at the ballot box in 2022. Well, we also found out the power the presidency has when he can release thousands and thousands of gallons of petroleum from the petroleum reserve, less artificially driving down the cost of gas to fake his way through a recovery and then leave us all completely exposed. But, you know, he's Joe Biden. What do you want? That's what the speech was like. Joe Biden battling with the teleprompter once again. It's a sad, pathetic way for him to exit the stage. And, well, it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy because he is a sad, pathetic, divisive, angry, mean-spirited dinosaur of a politician from a different racist era. Good riddance.